Hello and welcome to my channel. Have you ever asked yourself, what are the main elements of communication, or what are the main elements of effective communication in a project or program environment? Don't worry, in this video, I'm going to take you through the main elements of effective communication in a project setup. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Oscar Mbira. I'm a certified program and project manager. This is the channel which I use to help aspiring and also practicing project managers to succeed. In this video, I'm going to take you through what are the main elements in an effective project communication setup environment. So let's dive in. So the first element in an effective communication setup environment is clarity and precision. So if you want your communication to be very effective in a project setup, make sure it's very clear, very precise and concise. What do we mean by this? I've seen some case studies on projects where there's no clarity. There's a lot of gibberish in some communication. There's too much information in the project, and you find there's too much even documentation in the project. So if you try to appreciate and understand what exactly was this communication, it will take you time to appreciate. But what I've done in my projects is to make sure, say for example, I'm sending an email, where it's very necessary to put it in bullet form, I do that, and I would advise you to do that. If it's not necessary to put it in bullet form, but make sure your English is very clear. I was involved in so many projects with different nationals. I think one of them, the highest I had, was about 11 nationals, and the language of the project was English, of course. You would find in such a setup, it was very difficult for me if I was going to use any jargon, which is not familiar with anyone. If I was going to use any big words, English big words, no one was going to understand my communication. So having a challenge of a multinational setup environment or project, the best that I did to achieve to complete that project was to make sure that my communication is very clear and it's to the point. If ever there's a need to separate the communication, I'll do that. It's better for me to send 2, 4, 5 communications, but with very basic, precise, and concise information or message. That was very, very helpful because it was not confusing anyone. I've seen some other project members writing a very long email in terms of communication. So when you try to go through that long email, by the time you go to the end of the email, you might have forgotten everything that you have picked earlier. That kind of communication is not required in a project. It must be very clear and precise. I hope you have enjoyed the video so far. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you are the first person to be notified each time a new video is uploaded on this channel. It will also help the channel to grow. It can also help the channel to produce more videos like this one. The second element is timeliness. You want to make sure your communication is communicated or is passed, your message is passed at the right time. Say for example, you have segmented your project into 4 milestones. I don't think it would make sense for you to start making communication about the first milestone when you are already doing the 3rd milestone. It does not make sense. Assuming it's a software development project, which I was also involved, you have gone past the analysis stage and also the build stage. You're already testing the solution. Then you start communicating about kickoff, or you start communicating about analysis. That does not make sense. So timeliness of communication is very important. Say for example, you want to communicate about end of a phase or end of a stage. It is better you do it exactly after end of that stage. You don't need to wait for another stage to start and then you start communicating. Maybe there are specific lessons you wanted to pick from that particular stage. How are you going to apply it when you are already past that particular phase? So it is very, very important for you as a project manager to make sure that one of the elements of your communication to make it effective is timeliness. Always communicate whatever needs to be communicated in a project in a timely manner. That is very important. The third element of effective communication in a project environment is relevance. I have to repeat this. Relevance of communication is very important. I've seen some other project managers making mistakes where they start communicating some information way past that milestone. Doesn't make sense. It must be relevant. It must be relevant within the project. It must be relevant outside the project. It also must be relevant to all the stakeholders that we have identified in a project. Remember, we've spoken about stakeholders before. So each and every stakeholder that you've identified, you need to also pick the relevant information they need and the timing of the information they need. That is very important, and it's going to make your project very successful. I've done it before, I expect you to do the same. And you'll be successful, I was successful before. Then, the next element that we're going to look into this video, or we're going to discuss, is feedback. If you want to be successful in a project, just have an open mind to accept feedback from any of the stakeholders. It could be board members, it could be regulatory, it could be an agents, it could be your own team members, it could be the legal team, it could be any other projects. For example, you might run a project that is going to provide input to the other projects in a program environment. So you need to also be getting feedback. Say, for example, after a certain meeting, you might also request feedback from the team in terms of the agenda of the meeting, in terms of what were the action items, the general feedback from the team members. Most of them, they give you raw feedback, which is very important for you as a project manager. Some can even come and say, I've seen to my project. One of my members came and said, Oscar, this thing you're trying to do here is going to fail. I said, okay, fine. How is it going to fail? And why do you think it's going to fail? I can tell you I was surprised. This guy had done his research and he knew the direction we were taking, it was not going to be successful. So we had to mitigate against a number of risks that this guy was also pointing to me. So getting feedback from any project stakeholder is very important in a project. It makes a project very successful. Yet for me, I've done it before, it works very well. You must have a feedback mechanism or feedback loop mechanism within your project. That is very crucial, and that is going to make a project successful. So the next element of effective communication in a project is what is called active listening. If you're a project leader, project member, project manager, you must learn to have active listening skills. This is very important because you want engagement, you also want retention of project members in any discussion, in any communication. So if you're not able to listen to them, you'll find in most cases they'll keep quiet. They won't contribute. So you should be able to listen to whatever is coming from any project member, any project stakeholder. Where it's necessary, like what I normally do, I also summarize the discussion points. Just to make sure that whoever was giving you information, we are communicating that I had time to listen to you, which is a very important point. And this is what I got from our communication. This is what I understood from our communication. So normally myself, I summarize the information, I send back to whoever brought it to me, so that it becomes very, very important. Active listening as a project manager or project leader is very important in a project environment. It's going to take you very far. It's going to enable the project to deliver objectives. It's going to make the project very successful. So you need to take note of that. Practice, it's a skill. Even me, I'm still perfecting it. It's a skill. Active listening, it's a skill. Because when you're talking to someone, there are people they have different ways of expressing themselves. Some of them might even touch on your nerves emotionally. So you need to let it go, understand, get the point, and then move on. That is very important. The next element of effective communication in a project setup is empathy. You should be able to put yourself in someone's shoes just to be able to understand or to feel how they're feeling. That will also help you to manage their emotions, and it will also help to build a relationship with any project stakeholder. You should be able to address people's concerns. How do you address that? If you don't understand, you don't feel like them, then it's very difficult for you to address it. Empathy helps you to build a trust amongst your project members. If you don't have any empathy in terms of your skills, then it will be very difficult to address some of these things. It will be very difficult to get some of the tasks completed, and it might also be very difficult to meet any specific deadlines. That is very important. So always have some empathy as a project member or project leader. That is very, very important. It's going to help the project. It's also going to help you to have a very successful project. I hope you have enjoyed the video so far. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you are the first person to be notified each time a new video is uploaded on this channel. It will also help the channel to grow. It can also help the channel to produce more videos like this one. So the last element for effective communication that we are going to go through in this video is consistency. I've seen so many project managers making that mistake. Their message is not consistent. Today they say something else about the same subject. Tomorrow they say something else about the same subject. Today it's very simplified. Tomorrow it's a very complicated message. The third day is one of the longest messages being shared. So in terms of effective communication, be very specific and be consistent. Always send the same message to the same stakeholders, to the right people. Don't send a message which is not consistent in any way to the project members. You are going to cause a lot of confusion. You can even reduce the momentum of the project because your communication is not consistent. Say, for example, I've seen another communication from one of the project managers. They were saying, the other day they were saying, we are supposed to work 3 hours over weekends. Then after a week or two, you see another communication which says, weekends are a working day. So you find members are asking themselves, if it's a working day, is it going to remain 3 hours? Or is it going to be a normal working day with 8 hours? Or even beyond 8 hours? Are we going to start at 8, 9, 7, or 10? Are we going to finish at 6? So consistency in communication in a project environment is very important. You should build that skill as a project manager, or project leader, or project member. It is very critical and very important that each and every time you make any communication is very consistent. That is very, very critical. If you want me to create additional videos based on what we have covered in this video, including the concepts, the techniques, or you have got any specific clarification that you might want to understand, let me know in the comment section below.